Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Ultimatum episode 3. Let's get into it.
JR, you ready to make your choice?
Sandy's like so sexy to me. She's funny. She's got a wild side. She brings out that wild side in me. We feel super comfortable around each other. Aria is an amazing woman. We've both come from very similar backgrounds. She has qualities that would make her a great wife. I choose Sandy.
Oh.
The vibe is there. I love the energy that we have. Annie's not the typical girl I would go after. Like if she walked into a bar, I probably wouldn't even look at her. I mean, she's gorgeous. Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't go after her. I mean, she's not my physical type. I like how yesterday we were on the couch and I had told you to shut up. And you responded like, shut up too. And we just looked at each other and laughed. And I was like, okay, this is like toxic, but it's non-toxic. You know?
Ooh, interesting way to describe the dynamic. Interesting. He wants the spice, the dopamine hit, the will they, won't they, the back and forth. He doesn't want peace. He wants chaos Sandy. I wonder with this season how the editing works, how out of sync with the verbal is it? Because, you know, we hear one thing and then we see another thing and then I never know how spliced is the editing, right?
Okay, Sandy, are you ready to make your choice?
I choose JR to be my trial husband. We have a lot of similarities, and I've never had an experience with somebody that is very similar to me. I've always wanted that, and we can challenge each other to be the best versions of ourselves.
Nick, I can see that you were off kilter a little from last week to this week. That's what it is, right? I think you thought you knew what you were getting into, and now you're in it, and you're really in it.
Yeah, it's not about JR as an individual. Like, you have no idea, like, how long it took me to get her to open up to me.
I understand that, and I'm sorry, Nick.
This is harder than I anticipated. I came in with an idea of what it was gonna be, and I got smacked right in the face. So if it is that something was lacking in us, and you discover that in a new relationship, I'm honestly, truly hopeful that whatever comes from this experience, you get the best result.
Very interesting for him and Dave to have this reaction. Very similar, though obviously he came in with an ultimatum and Dave got the ultimatum. But it is kind of interesting how intense it can be, but also so predictable. Obviously, I think the show's producers also want them to be on edge emotionally. I assume they kind of hope that the couples are going to express a lot of emotion and have some chaos and some have maybe even a fight. But I think it's important for people to see this as what it is. Human beings on a journey with their mismatched partners, realizing that there's more out of life than this thing that we've settled for. I think the reason I don't want you to settle for your job or your life or your marriage is because you don't have to. But more than that, when you have a real relationship with yourself solo, it's going to be less needed to be partnered in a sense. It won't be out of desperate. It will be out of joy, compatibility. It will be out of being excited that, oh my God, I met a person and like you really vibe with me. And I do want to do this journey with you. And this is such a great moment for us versus what it ends up really being in a lot of these situations, which is you're good enough. Yeah, I guess. I'll spend all this time forcing you to open yourself open to, you know, up to me because you have this shell or this wall up. Like we romanticize when we're very young having a wall up and, oh, we're mysterious and it takes a lot to, you know, bring down my wall so I can be vulnerable with you. But the truth is, I think healthy and adjusted people, though they can have a reasonable time or pace in terms of opening themselves up to people, don't technically have to do it, quote, out of trauma, right? So when we do things out of trauma, out of a fear, that's not the same thing as doing it out of privacy. It's one thing to wait while dating to open yourself up to somebody because of privacy issues, but it sounds like what he's saying is that it took Sandy a long time to open up to him because of trauma issues. So it's shocking that she's been able to open up to JR so quickly. But my theory is, and stay here with me, my theory is that she hasn't truly opened up to JR in the way that she's opened up, right, in her previous relationships, but the implication is that she has. And I'm going to assume that they actually haven't opened up that much, but it's enough for JR to qualify it and for Sandy to qualify it as enough. But I don't think it's at the same level that she was opening up before. Does that kind of make sense? I have a feeling, I could be wrong. It's just, it hasn't been displayed on camera. It's been very shallow so far between them. And I don't know what was so difficult for Sandy to open up about, but we haven't seen it on camera. So if her and JR have had those conversations, they were not shown to us.
It is really difficult to watch your ex interact with another human in the way that you want them to be interacting with you. I had a really hard time connecting with anybody. I felt like Nick just provided such an elevated platform for me to express myself and truly just be me and not feel weird about it. Which was amazing. You are somebody that anyone would be lucky to be married to.
I issued the ultimatum. I feel like I'm at a point in my life where I'm ready. I have been extremely emotional through this phase. So to meet somebody who is a kindred spirit, she's an onion. We're also weird onions, basically. We're fellow weirdos, and it's very easy to be around somebody who's also as weird as me. And she's brilliant, she's intelligent, she's gorgeous, and she has a soul that I am very grateful that I have been able to interact with.
Just telling, hearing you two talk, how deep you've gotten in such a short time, and that's the beauty of why you're all here.
Yeah, they are the most compatible, and they do speak with that language that sounds so different than any other couple. Like, they genuinely sound like they had a good connection, which is, what happens. Like I said at the beginning of the series, if their partner was going to be here, it could definitely be here because they're all here. The probability of it is pretty low, but it's there, right? Just like with any of these shows, I think you have a higher probability on Love is Blind than you do on The Ultimatum. But at the same time, Vanessa and Nick could quite literally be one of those couples. I don't really see it with anyone else, but I could see it with them. I could buy into them being a real couple maybe at this point. Fingers, just okay, take that tentatively, because who knows? We're only on episode 3.
Nick, I choose you as my trial marriage partner.
I choose Vanessa. Since I've met you, I feel like I've learned more about myself and how I can grow, and I feel safe with you. And I know that through this experience, I will be a better person, and I'm excited for it. I just can't imagine having gone through this without you.
Oh,
I really appreciate that. I couldn't feel better knowing that it's with anyone else, so I'm really thankful, a little scared at the same time, because you're great. This is just it's very scary and very real.
it's a lot. Like, it's a really lot. Like, these aren't actors. Like, as much as we think these shows are just scripted, and there might be some definitely pressure from the producers, scripted does not mean that it's not less real. Like, even if it was all completely scripted, like, these are real tears. Right? This is real. Even in traditional film, where it is literally actors in scripts, they are emotionally impacted by the roles they play. So we have to remember that there's a very human. That's why I couldn't do a show like this, because it wouldn't match my sense of reality. It would be too strange for me, right? Also, I'm married, but it would be really hard for me to process the idea of going with a partner to an event like this and feeling a connection with another person when I came here to marry my person. So it's all very strange. But then, of course, using the language that I use on my channel, I would say that this isn't your person and that's why you're on the show. But at the same time, they do come into the show thinking they're with, their person. So it's there's a cognitive dissonance almost that starts to exist almost. But ultimately, this is an interesting experiment to encourage people to face themselves. And just a good reminder that it is very real.
Through this experience, I think there's been a lot of clarity. So while we're doing this experience, understand this is a new relationship and you're gonna be on your best behavior and try to show your best self. Try to bring all the great things about you into this trial marriage and for life.
It feels like maybe I had made a mistake in coming here.
I never thought I would come on an experience like this and get this vulnerable and this emotional.
I'm just not buying into Scotty. I feel everyone's level of vulnerability, and I just feel like Scotty is the least authentic so far. At first, I was so rooting for him. I don't know what happened. First episode, I had no bad feelings about him. But by the second episode, or whatever it was, I don't know, guys. No, by the end of the first episode, whenever it turned, I have to go back and watch my own videos. I don't even remember. I guess it was the first episode. Whenever he turned, but I don't even I didn't have that. I just remember going into this thinking differently about him. And then boom, it switched. Yeah, it must have been, when did he yell at her? I guess he snapped at her end of first episode, huh? I guess that is how it happened. I really should record these more back to back because I forget. Yeah, I don't really believe him, but I kind of want to, because I've really fallen for Dave and his vulnerability. Not that I love Dave, but but then again, why are we even here? Why are we even here? I just feel like when you're in a relationship and it's this hard, it's just not it. It just doesn't have to be this hard. Remember, marriage isn't hard, but life is.
Arya is not ready at the end of this. That's fine. I'm done. But seeing her interact and bring her best self, the self that I want, the self that I'm craving, that's what I want for us.
People say that relationships are work. It is work, but it's a job that you want to show up for because it's a job that has some great benefits.
I do think marriage is work. I just don't think it's hard. Like, that's the problem, is like, because when people say it's hard, I feel like there's an implication of negativity and toxicity that they're using in their language that I don't exhibit in my own marriage. And look, we're newlyweds in a big sense. When we're 5 to 10 years in, we might have different opinions, but I assume I chose correctly in the same way that my parents or my bestie's parents did, in the sense that our relationship will have normal human disagreements, but we're not going to be abusing, cheating, lying, no infidelity. That's what we're avoiding here. We're avoiding at any point looking at my partner like a genuinely bad person, when that's never how I want to look at my partner. Because look, I don't really look at people in my life as like genuinely bad people. It's really rare that I will ever meet anybody in my life that I look at and I'm like, you're genuinely a bad person. Like, that's a very rare occurrence for me with my friends and family. So out of all the people in the universe, I shouldn't look at and think it's my partner. And look, in my past relationships, I definitely dated people that I thought to myself like, oh, I think I need somebody a little bit more wholesome than I'm seeing here. And I do think I married like a very wholesome and lovely person, somebody who's thoughtful and smart and sharp and all of the things that I needed for my personality type, but also a very like good person. I mean, gosh, just the way that like they love my cat, just the way that, she performs her wifely duties. No, I'm just kidding. But like just the way that like we interact as a couple is just so great. Like, I really married my best friend. Like, I really, really married my best friend. And so it feels, I just want everyone to feel like they married their best friend, if that's what you're aiming for. If it's not what you're aiming for, that's okay. But I really did marry my best friend. And I just really recommend it because it's a great experience,
But it is 100% and 100%. There's no 50-50.
True.
Two halves don't make a whole. We got to.
Yes, it is 100-100. It's not 50-50. This is so good. I'm so glad Vanessa said that. It is 100-100. I hear from a lot of couples who are like keeping score and you do this and you do this. We do 100-100. Okay, now for my autistics out there, we're not saying 100% of your most ideal day. We're saying 100% of what you can give today. I give 100% of what I can give every day, which is like a solid 83% of my ideal Brittany. Okay, so that's the joke, right? I'm chronically ill. I have limitations. You know what I mean? I can't give 100% of ideal healthy Brittany. Like, I'm not ideal healthy Brittany in terms of my physical health, right? I run out of spoons. But in my relationship, I give 100% of what I can give. Right? We do the best for the team, but not at the expense of ourselves. We do 100% for ourselves, but not at the expense of the team. We're really in this together. I'm so glad she said that. I'm so sick of people saying like two halves of a whole. It's romantic, but it's even more romantic. Two grown-ups who are giving 100% and coming two whole people into a marriage to be a part of a great team. For me, I think we've romanticized love to the point where we've forgotten that it should actually be something worthy. We want to be worthy of love. We want to be, participants in our marriages. And there's just so much toxicity that we allow in love because we've convinced ourselves that if we love somebody, we can allow them to abuse us. Loving somebody is not about abuse. Shout out Bell Hooks. We're reading her in the book club right now for Discord, for Patreon, where we get a chance to explore as a community this idea of what is love. So we're doing Bell Hooks right now. And Bell Hooks in her beginning chapters talks about this illusion we've created that love can also include abuse. If love also includes abuse, then like, what is love? And we need to have really big conversations about that in our lives. You know what I mean? So shout out to the patrons because they do help make this content happen. And I just so appreciate you guys being there. 18 plus, because we don't want minors in the community. No offense. But if you guys are on YouTube, please give a like as well, or share this video with somebody who can benefit from it. Because ultimately we need to be having better, healthier conversations about love. And I hope that as a content creator, I bring that. I think that's what I feel like is missing when I watch a lot of content, is I'm so sick of the fresh and fits, and I'm so sick of this gender war, and I'm so sick of people just dehumanizing one another, when ultimately we should be focusing on actual healthy relationships as examples by using examples of not the healthiest situations to talk about how we can be better. And so I think I'm so grateful that these people are almost willing to go on the show, because then we can use real people's lives to have really serious conversations about reality. That life could be so much more. You do not have to settle for your life, your love, your job, or anything else.
And there are days that my 100 is a little less and I need him to help get me there, and
Totally.
vice versa. There are days he's like, I'm not here fully, and I'm like, I got you.
Absolutely. As a neurodivergent, married to a neurodivergent, as a chronically ill person, like, we have to be there for each other. So that's why we never take advantage of each other. We never, ever lie to each other. We're completely transparent. We get stuff done because we're adults, even if it's a little bit too much. We do absolutely as much as we possibly can before we ask another person to help us, because at the end of the day, like, it's already hard enough for both of us. You know, we don't want to take advantage of each other, but we do want to rely on each other. It is okay to be reliable. You can be reliable without taking advantage of people. You can ask for help without taking advantage of people. And learning that is a balance between the two parties.
This week, I've been just like up, down, up, down. JR, you're a sweetheart. I wish you truly the best. Caleb, we kind of started off the bat very platonic. With that, I feel like I was able to open up because we grew up very similarly, and I know with like my ex, we did not. That, in a sense, like made me feel validated because I know that my upbringing was hard. It's nice to see somebody else with resilience as well.
Yeah, they did talk about money and resources, and actually, look, Caleb's smiling and his smile's like kind of reaching his eyes, which is interesting. Scotty is not amused. Interesting that they did have that overlap. I can definitely, you know, I wonder if she would have chosen JR if JR had chosen her, or if she would have gone for Caleb, and that would have been interesting. But I do think JR chose Sandy because Sandy made that speech. I feel like he wasn't going to choose her. I felt like he was going to choose Aria, but I'm not sure. I don't know. What do you guys think?
You're driven. It's very obvious, very independent. I see that my ex is more codependent. Thank you for showing how I would like a partner to be.
Ooh. Codependent is a very interesting word. That's a negative. So I'm not a psychological or medical professional, but in a therapist talk way, like codependent, I hear that word and I'm like, negative, interdependent, fabulous. So the fact that he described his partner as codependent, that's really interesting. Codependence, you can think of it as I can't do it without you versus I can do it without you, but I love that you're here to support me. Like, I can do my whole life without a partner. I do not need a partner. I want to make it abundantly clear, but I really, really want you here. Versus that's interdependent and you rely on each other because you're a team. But codependence, like, I can't live without you. If you leave me, what will happen? I can't even, it's like, it's not good, right? It's not healthy because your sense of self is intertwined in the relationship or with that person. So interesting that he would describe his partner that way. Now, I don't know if he's using it kind of colloquially or like, is there like a casual way to call someone codependent? Because like, that feels like a super red flag to me, but interesting.
You will tackle difficult conversations that many people don't ever have, even after they get married.
Oh.
Then after 3 weeks, you will go through the exact same experience with the person you arrived here with.
Whoa, this is actually kind of insane. I don't know if it's always like this with Ultimatum, but it must have been, but I haven't watched it in so long. This is intense. Family, friends, all over again. This is like emotional whiplash. Whoa.
I do want to hug first because I appreciate you being there for me.
Of course.
I feel like
Yeah, this is so strange. Hugging a person. Yeah, I'm feeling intimate with them and relying on them emotionally after just knowing them but like a week. And then your partner's right there. This would be so emotionally taxing. What an interesting experiment.
was an emotional disaster tonight.
You were honest. There's nothing wrong with that. I was too.
One of my fake eyelashes is coming off because I was crying so much.
I cried a lot. I can deal with the fact that I think JR is a knucklehead and like there were so many great men that I was like, oh, I really wish she's gonna connect with somebody that will like be something that she can grow from. To me, he's like the low-hanging fruit. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just being judgmental because he's with Sandy, but
it's the F-boy energy. JR gives F-boy a himbo energy. JR feels like a himbo. But he only kind of feels more like that with Sandy. Remember how in the last episode I said that maybe JR mirrors people? Because I did feel like with Aria, he was less of a himbo, but he gives himbo energy. But I do think it's weird that Nick wanted Sandy to interact with somebody who would be deeper with her because ironically enough, isn't a himbo the last person she would want to leave with? Or maybe he knows Sandy's reputation and maybe a himbo is somebody she would want over somebody more serious about marriage. Because if it was somebody more serious about marriage, then maybe it would spook her away from them and back to Nick. I'm not sure what he means by that.
Although I thought you were mad at me.
Oh my gosh, no.
Okay. I was just
What made you feel that
Because
way?
you weren't looking at me.
Dave's sitting right there.
I know.
The smallest part of my crying was from jealousy or sadness about this whole experience. I've always felt like it was challenging for me to connect with people at a deeper level. But for some reason, not with you.
I know you guys keep saying that everybody's autistic, but I'm telling you, she's autistic. This is an autistic woman right here. And I'm telling you right now, it makes sense. She should go get assessed.
You're someone that I feel like accepts me so like wholly for who I am, and the things that I'm insecure about, like you don't see that. That makes me feel really seen and understood as a person.
I don't know what I would have done in this if you weren't like, I mean, I thought they're all wonderful. Did I want to
Yeah.
spend any time with them? No.
I was feeling like an outcast, like I
But we
couldn't
are.
connect with anyone else.
But we are.
But like I love that we connected
We are.
so much. Like you're amazing.
Like we are outcasts. We are weirdos.
They're very like into this narrative of their weirdo. They're different, and I'm not sure what's happening.
How do you feel about me sleeping in the king bed with you on the first night?
I'm good with that. I mean, unless you want to sleep on the couch.
Nah, I mean, you wifey now, so
Yeah, right?
yeah.
I don't want my hubby to sleep on the couch.
they're so kinky in here. They got like the chains.
Oh my god, bro. We went from like nerd, our artist, neurodivergent couple who's like, I love your spirit, I love your soul, I knew you in a past life, to like, ooh, kinky, they have chains. Fashion.
What? I'm gonna tie you to the bed with this.
These are not the
But yo, your arms would fit in here though. Like, yeah, there we go.
This is not chains. This is decor.
Do you have any like concerns about me?
I mean, other
Living with-
than
living
just
with
living
me?
with a new person, I am actually excited because obviously, like, we're different. We come from different backgrounds. So I'm actually excited to like learn that.
Me too.
So just be you.
That's what you're gonna get is me, 100%
Okay.
me. I don't know how to be anybody else.
Like you're the like Philly jersey in your voice.
Yeah, like you're gonna get me for sure. Maybe a little bit too much.
Well, I'll shut that shit down.
Yeah, I wish you would.
I'll be saging you like in your sleep. Like
You better not.
if we
I
get in
swear.
a fight, I'm like gonna.
I swear.
Have you ever used sage?
No.
It's not like some weird like voodoo shit.
Okay. Is that a thing for you?
Yeah, I like to sage myself.
I wouldn't have seen Sandy as a sage girl. Kind of interesting that she's saging herself, but then she's like, it's not voodoo stuff. But like, the only time somebody saged me up was a Native American man because I was dating his son, and he would bless us with sage and like sage us up. That was fire. It was cool. You know what I mean? It was like a good experience. But that's the only context I know saging in. So maybe somebody can educate me in the comments of other people that sage, you know?
We have a genuine connection.
I feel like that's something that was so triggering for Nick. I think he can sense that there's actually like
A connection.
a connection, and it's
Yeah.
not really just such a platonic connection.
I felt him staring through my soul.
If I'm gonna be honest, I feel like it has something to do with like you. I have literally never seen him so jealous.
Really.
And I think he's really scared.
At the end of the day, we're single, so we'll see what happens.
Well, brother.
What's gonna happen?
This is so weird.
This is like the weirdest thing ever. It's like moving into a new apartment with someone you barely know.
I'm gonna write them off, not write them off, but as like very wholesome so far. I don't think they're gonna do anything. I think they're not gonna touch each other. I'm gonna predict they're not gonna even kiss each other. I predict they're gonna wait it out for their partners because I just can't imagine either of them engaging romantically or sexually, and I can't imagine them doing anything that would hurt their partners.
This is just so weird. I just can't get over it. I had thought about leaving the whole experience.
Yeah, me too.
Because I didn't
There were
wanna.
times where I wanted to leave.
If you didn't feel that way, then something's wrong with you. How do you feel right now?
I couldn't look at them.
Did you just look down?
I just looked at the candle.
I was like staring them down. And I'll tell you why. What was really odd, and this is what kind of set me off. Nick and Vanessa walk away.
Yeah.
Nick took the ring with him. And I was like, huh? So that kind of messed with my head a little bit.
Yeah.
It's more just like it hurt my feelings. Vanessa is her own person.
Yeah,
Just because Nick took it mean a lot for Vanessa. Tonight, tomorrow, 4 days from now, whatever, where we're gonna be thinking about our ex with somebody that we don't know.
Now that we have this crib,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like, how do you like your space?
Great question.
I just feel like picking up after yourself. Maybe like if I'm working here, I'll keep everything tidy.
What time do you normally start your days?
I've been waking up around 6:30, so trying to keep that consistent.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Sometimes in the mornings, I like to play like a vinyl just to kind of get my day started. Is that all
Yeah,
right?
definitely. I'd love that.
Cool. Cool.
Yeah.
It's so funny. I don't see them together, but I like that they both talked about their day and their schedules. I think that's kind of cute. So Sandy and JR, they're all falling into their stereotypes pretty hard. So the F couple started talking about sex. The nerd couple talked about how in love they were. This couple talked about how organized they are. Like, I think that's kind of funny. And then Dave and Chanel talked about how just like awkward it is. So they're all kind of falling into their expectations pretty hard right now. The music's playing into it. The editing's playing into it, right?
Tonight is awkward. And with Chanel, it's never awkward. She's the person that I can't wait to see every day.
Oh.
And so now that that's not there, I do miss her.
You know, that's the thing is like you know, sometimes when you're living your life, you're so used to it, you forget to be grateful for it. So I do try to practice gratitude every day. And I don't mean in the hokey way that people always talk about. I mean, literally, just a reminder that, you know, we're on this floating rock in space, you know, all the typical things you know about life, but you take for granted, that we don't know if we're promised tomorrow, all the stuff that you hear that is hokey, but people don't think about it. I want you to think about it today. And right now, that's what he's feeling. Like Micah's feeling this reality setting in that Chanel's not here, that he doesn't have his routine, his probably normal smells. Like I'm very big on smells and textures in the house. And like, it's hard not to have those smells, to have those consistencies, you know. I love going to sleep with my partner. I love our nightly routine. I like that we play connections. I like that we have we rely on each other for our own, you know, routine in a sense. It can be very intense out of the blue not having that. And they're going to do it for 3 weeks. I think they said 3 weeks. That's a long time, right? To change things up a bit. So be grateful. Be grateful for your life. Be grateful for your kids or your husband or partner or wife or whoever is in your life. Be grateful for yourself. One thing I have learned over the years is I'm very grateful for me. I'm very grateful that I got better. I'm very grateful I can rely on myself. I'm very grateful I can provide for myself. I'm very grateful for all the things that I have done for Brittany. I always think, what can I do for future Brittany now that would help her out? Because you're somebody who needs care and love as much as anybody else, but we can't always wait for other people to do that for us. Sometimes we have to do it for ourselves. And I would argue most of the time you should do it for yourself. And that's how you show up 100% for your partner, because you've cleared your side of the bed, your side of the bedroom, your side of the road, whatever. You've taken care of your responsibilities as an adult, because there is just a reality that needs to set in that one day, like, we do have to grow up, which means we have to be reliable. And that starts with being reliable to ourselves, you know? So maybe you're not there yet. Maybe you're not ready. But at one point in your life, you will wake up and realize like, oh, it's time. And maybe that time is right now. Sometimes I think we're really good at playing adult, but I think we forget that playing house isn't the same as actually keeping one. Learning to keep a home is a skill. Sometimes we're late starters like myself. So I always could provide. I could always live on my own. I could always have roommates, but I really didn't learn how to build a home until my 30s. And I'm still learning. I'm still in class right now.
The night was so exhausting. I hope that Scotty and I are truly meant to be, that he sees that I actually see him and I care about him too. There is a part of me that does fear that Scotty has something with Zaina that maybe I can't replicate. And I think that...
Hold on, I'll be right back.
Thank you.
I'm gonna ration it out. This is only single ply.
My allergies, my nose. God cursed me with this big nose and a bunch of allergies. I'm always congested and I just live off tissue, and like single ply is not the way to go, girls.
You've been with someone for so long. Sometimes the both of you can feel underappreciated. And I think this is the first time I've never felt secure.
Really? I don't believe that. How could Aria say this is the only time she's never felt secure in her relationship if she literally said no, she wouldn't marry him? Pause, skirt, skirt, turn around, U-turn. What? if Scotty issued the ultimatum and said, like, I want to marry you, then if you're secure, you get married. What do you mean? I feel like maybe I'm just speaking for myself, but the reason I never married anybody was because I wasn't secure enough to do it. I didn't feel secure in my relationship. Like, I didn't get married until I felt secure in my relationships. So the idea that you would say this is the first time I haven't felt secure makes zero sense to my brain. Then why didn't you marry Scotty? You must have been feeling insecure. See, that doesn't, I wonder what she means when she says what she means by secure. Huh.
We came here thinking we didn't have any insecurities. You never experienced them in your relationship, and then all of a sudden they're triggered. Like, how deep down were they? Were they really deep, that far down? Or was it something just like right at the surface that was just waiting to pop out?
Okay, Caleb. Okay. Yeah, that's the question. That's what these kinds of experiments can offer you. It's what meditation can offer you. It's what deconstruction can offer you. I'm really excited about this Monday's podcast about deconstruction. It's really about asking the questions. And Vanessa Lachey said it earlier in the show. She said, you're going to have to answer questions or have conversations as couples that a lot of people never have. And that's what really opportunities like this can give you. And that's the tool I want to give you the most is I want you to ask yourself the question that would be like life-changing if somebody has to ask you that because you never thought to ask it to yourself, right? I want you to ask yourself questions every day that get you closer to knowing yourself and knowing your goals and knowing yourself better to where you can rely on yourself, to where you can feel secure about your decisions, even in moments where we feel insecure. It's not like I don't experience insecurity. I just like to joke I'm secure in my insecurity. But the truth is like, I have moments too where I'm like, I don't know what the right decision is. Like I panic as much as anybody else. I just remember that the answer will eventually be clear. Maybe the answer isn't clear to me now, but I know if I wait it out, the answer will be clear.
As you like let go of them and focus a little more inward, I think that will be part of our journey.
If Scotty ends up really truly falling for Zaina, then I just know that like he just was not my person. But
for sure. But I also know you're not Scotty's person because you won't marry him. It just makes no sense.
Every door that's closed, another door will open.
I just need to like decompress, to be honest.
Okay. You want to do that like alone? Like I could give you this.
No, I want my new husband to, I want to talk to my new husband.
Okay, hold on. That was kind of nice that he asked her consent. Do you want to do that alone? She said, no, I don't. That's kind of nice. Okay, I think that was a point towards Scotty's self-awareness.
I could sense that you like something was off.
You already knew.
She's upset.
You could read it.
Yeah.
I've never had any jealous reaction up until this point, and it didn't feel good because I'm like,
yeah. Today was a lot, but I do hope like what I said about you and the reasons why I chose you, you heard me because I really meant it.
likewise. Copy paste. I just want to follow this process. Like, I don't want to be like, okay, let me like hit up JR.
So you're trying to be a true trial wife?
I am.
That is really interesting. And I will be curious to see if anyone does text their ex or is tempted to, or yeah, because I think that happened during Queer Ultimatum, if I remember correctly. I think there was some texting, right? And that's always interesting to see. So note to self.
I am most excited about Scotty's enthusiasm for marriage. And I think we both are equally craving that partnership.
But I just feel like with you, I was almost like asking myself, like, do I need to slow this down? Like, is too much happening too quickly? Like, am I being too open and too vulnerable?
I'm sorry, is she still wearing makeup to bed? She has eyeshadow on. I get it. Sometimes, very rarely, I do fall asleep because I'm so tired.
And I think when you ask yourself those questions, like, that's almost like a sign that there is a natural connection and you're like fighting it.
Is that her barefaced? Is she just that pretty? Maybe she's just that pretty, but I swear she has eyeshadow on. Yeah, she does look like she washed her face, actually. She just looks like she's a little bit of eyeshadow on. I wonder if it's to protect the lashes, but she's so pretty. Oh.
I really would hope like Scotty was sleeping on the couch.
Would it hurt you if you did sleep in the bed?
First day, yeah, I'd be like, damn.
Interesting. So Aria and Caleb not sleeping in the same bed, but I think they're going to be the only couple probably. Chanel and Dave, let's see if they sleep in the same bed.
I love being around you. I think that you're super fun. You're goofy. Like, I'm very thankful that we had like such a easy, instant friendship before anything. It takes a special person to make someone else feel that comfortable and bringing up hard topics.
Okay, now I am convinced that the camera people literally told them not to wash their eyeshadow off because she's got a bare face too, but her eyeshadow's on. I'm telling you right now, did the camera people tell them to keep their eyeshadow on or something? Right? Am I crazy? I'm sorry. I have to notice it. Because I notice these things. Like, it's interesting, right? Like, she's barefaced.
The way you see me, it's nuts because I've only known you for a very short period of time. Like, you genuinely see me. It's been a very long time since I felt that way. I think there's definitely a part of me that's a little scared through this because your heart is extraordinary. And that is something that I look for in a life partner. And there's also just something about the way your face is when you say things that I like. I don't know what that means, but like there's something, the way that like your mouth moves and your eyes move when you deliver information to me, like I feel it. It's like, I don't know.
You like my face?
I like your face.
Okay.
I do sleep with like at least 2 pillows.
Really?
Same.
It's
2
cozy.
pillows. 2 pillows, one to sleep on, one between your knees.
Hey, your cute little jammy outfit.
Yo, we're matching.
It looks
You're wearing a
good.
white beater too. I just realized that.
But it's not white, mine's pink.
I said wife, white beater.
I actually do have a white one in my bag that I packed. I should
Okay.
have worn it.
You should have.
Hmm.
Sexy on you.
Anyways, what does JR stand for?
took
I'm
you
like, I
like
don't even
this-
know your last
It took
name.
you this long to ask, which is
I thought about it. Came to my mind in conversations. We were talking about other stuff.
John Richard.
Your real name's John.
Wait, John is such a nice name for him. Ooh, John. Ooh, I like that better than JR sounds a little young, but John sounds kind of like a man's name. But she just said John, Jawn. Like, who spells it like that?
JWN. Who spells a name like that?
Exactly, who spells a name like that? But also, it's kind of a cool spelling, but I've never seen it spelled that way, but maybe.
Like a Philly John.
Oh, John.
Like a John, yeah.
Oh, I'm telling you, there's some fucking weird race thing happening between the two of them. They feel like they're from opposite planets, which they keep saying, but it feels, you know what I mean?
What's your name? You started this.
No, my real name's Sandra.
Oh.
Mhm.
I love Sandra. Sandra.
Naturally, I wouldn't go after a guy like you normally because I wouldn't know if I could actually connect with you. I mean, I think you're very hot. And I was like, oh, wow. But I wouldn't think based off of just first impressions that like, oh, he'd be the guy I would like connect with the most.
Because he's a gym guy? Because he has muscles? Because he looks like an F-boy? Why? What are you saying? Because your boyfriend's an artist? Like, I guess because Nick's an artist. He's like a soft boy.
Yeah, we were both super vulnerable.
Yeah.
And we didn't have to be.
I appreciate that about you. It's really cute.
I think we're advancing
Are they drinking alcohol or are they just drinking water? I never know with these cups.
too fast. This is not good.
They never have like real conversations in my mind. They're always having flirting conversations. We're advancing too fast. This is not good. When other couples aren't talking to each other like that. Oh. Micah. Oh, Chanel. Uh-oh. 3:18 a.m. Oh my gosh. Oh.
I'll never tell him no. I keep my secrets.
Oh my God. Are they gonna leave together, bro?
Better to keep them close. Little does everyone know.
Mariah? Wait, Mariah? Oh, Caleb. Wait, Mariah? Oh, Mariah's with Micah. Okay, so Mariah woke up and realized Caleb isn't in the house.
I'm wide awake dreaming. I'll never come to the phone, 'cause I'll stop breathing. I just get some fresh air.
Okay, so Chanel's telling Dave, do you mind if I get some fresh air?
Yeah, of course. You feel okay doing that? Like, no in the area and stuff?
Yeah.
He said, do you feel safe doing that? You're okay in that area?
Tonight I'm feeling so many emotions inside of me, you know, and you don't even know how to.
You can't see it because I edited it down so YouTube approves my clips more. And Dave is standing to the left side of the island and he just looks like a normal person. Shirts and shorts are on. And then she's, you know, heading out.
Articulate them.
Just text me if you need help getting back in or something's weird.
1 minute you're coming into the experience with your partner. then choose somebody. Now you're living with them, you're a whole wife, and it's like, I don't even know if I've gotten a chance to process everything that I just experienced in the beginning. Damn, this is a lot.
Gotta be safe. So I'm worried. Okay, all right. Good job.
Okay, 8:32 in the morning. Back.
It's what I'm talking about. Sweet love in the morning.
It was my first night with Sandy. Woke up like, is this what a one-night stand feels like? Because I was like, wait, who's this girl next to me? I was like, oh yeah, this is my wife. It was a little weird, but we were both really comfortable.
My bad. I thought you said you didn't do too much for breakfast.
Only for my trial husband.
All right, I'll take that.
Hard for me, and I apologize for leaving you here. You know, like, it's not you right now, it's me.
Yeah. We're breaking up.
On the first night.
Yeah.
I went to get a coffee and I ran into Sandy and she told me that her and JR, that they've already kissed.
Is that the kiss at the bar that we know about?
It's like we've had our issues moving into this and I get it and I've heard it, but I mean, I don't know how to process that at this point because it's so fresh. I'm hurt. I'm just really hurt.
Interesting. I wonder if Chanel told Dave that she went out. It looked like Micah was going out to meet Chanel, but I don't know that, right? That could just be the editing. And then, of course, it is really interesting because I assume there's some shops around or wherever and they're going to run into each other, obviously. And I wonder how many of the couples, like I said earlier, are hoping that the other doesn't get physical. But then I wonder realistically and truly how realistic that it seems. It's so weird. This season feels so strange. Like it does feel like all the couples are not going to go home with anybody. At the same time, they obviously aren't with their person, but also it's like the realness of it is setting in, right?
It's hard for me like to even know what to say. You know, I don't think Sandy is a bad person by any means.
This is the most vulnerable I've been in a long time and I feel very alone.
Oh.
And
I don't want you to feel alone though. Like you do have me here.
Yeah, I mean, it is more than I think any of them could have perceived, but I still, like, my brain is like, how could you not have thought this was going to happen? Didn't you watch the other previous seasons? I am very curious on how many people go on reality TV shows without watching former seasons to understand how it's going to work. But, you know, I listen to radio call-in shows, and a lot of the time people will call in and say something where I'm like, don't you listen to this radio show? Don't you know how it works? And then I realize they don't. They're like, oh, I'm a new listener. I just started listening last week or a month ago. And I'm like, oh, because I can't imagine calling into a radio station that I haven't listened to for at least like 3 months to understand the vibe, 4 months, 5 months. I couldn't imagine going on this show without having watched the previous seasons. So I can understand like what could be expected. So I don't know. Sometimes these people feel so fresh, like they have no idea what's coming. And then sometimes I can't imagine going into this without at least thinking about it for a second. But maybe it's one of those things where they just thought of all the best case scenarios and none of the bad ones.
you're an incredible human. I'm just very overwhelmed. I just need a minute right now.
I know.
I just need a minute.
Okay.
I'm about as low as I've felt in a long time. This has been one of the hardest days of my life, honestly.
Okay, so it basically ended there. Nick and Vanessa were hugging. He was expressing his like just emotions. He was kind of crying. And then they ended the episode. Kind of interesting the way that the edit went. The title was something like They've Kissed or First Kissed or Sealed with a Kiss. I think it was Sealed with a Kiss. And I wasn't sure what they were referencing. I thought somebody was going to kiss in this episode, but I guess it was the prior kiss. And I guess that was it in a sense. Like it was sealed with the kiss. Nick found out they kissed and it was over, you know, something like that. Interesting. I kind of liked in general how the nights went with all the couples. I think that was important. Everyone was really consent-based, which was, I think, important. And then everybody was really respectful. I think that's what I'm always looking for in these shows, especially when there's a lot of alcohol involved, allegedly. I want to make sure that they're being very consent-focused. So I think I appreciated that energy from everybody. I think this is kind of an older group of people, give or take. So I think that was kind of nice. It set a level of maturity expectation that I think was displayed here. Curious to see what happens next. Interested to see if Nick makes it through the experiment. Dave makes it through the experiment. Interesting to see if Micah and Chanel will leave early together. And interested in the idea that Aria and Caleb didn't sleep together for the first night. Interested to see how that integrates into the future because I think they were the only couple that didn't share a bed that we physically saw. Though Chanel left and Dave Dave and Chanel were up at 3 a.m. and the pull-out bed wasn't pulled out for Chanel and Dave's screenshot. So I didn't see a pull-out bed, which kind of implies that they were going to share the same bed. But then it looked like Chanel didn't come home till 8:30 in the morning the next day. So then the question is, where was she all night? Now, I think Dave and Chanel aren't actually interested in one another. And I think they're just like picking each other to stay in the show type thing. So you know what I mean? So I wouldn't be surprised if they were less concerned with the sleeping situation, since we never saw the conversation about it. It never became a thing. I think it's pretty clear they're not actually interested in one another, but it's cool that they kept each other company through the process. With that said, that might be enough for Micah and Chanel to leave the show together early. Couples do it. It's happened before. I wouldn't be surprised if they decided to do it, because if they're both, you know, if their heart's not in the experiment, it's like, why stay? But then if they leave, of course, that will leave Dave out, and that will leave Mariah out, which Dave and Mariah could also have a similar setup where maybe they could get to know each other. But Mariah, I think, was kind of excited about the experiment going in a particular direction. So I can see if she'd be a little sad that Micah left. But how far is she going to go with Micah if it was that awkward to begin with, right? So maybe Dave and Mariah will end up becoming roomies, and maybe they can see or stay with each other through the process, I guess. I don't know. I don't know how it will work. I don't know how the producers will make it work. With that said, thank you for watching with me. I hope you liked the video. Please leave a like and share this with somebody also watching The Ultimatum so we could further the conversation in the comment sections down below. And with that said, I will see you next time.
In my head, in real life I'm in bed, my belly's being fed and I'm okay. I'm just fine, yet all I do is whine. Not to you in my mind, cause I know I don't make sense. I've been nothing but blessed, so why's my life a mess? Please tell me, cause I'm sick of thinking. Yeah, I'm sick of reaching out for the truth and living life as a fool. Dun, dun.